Many people have defined self-discipline as doing without, but a better definition of self-discipline is doing within while you're doing without. Self-discipline is no more than mental practice, the commitment to memory of those thoughts, emotions, and daily actions that will override current information stored in the subconscious memory bank. And then through relentless repetition, the penetration of these new inputs into our subconscious, they result in the creation of a new self-image. We learn by observation, imitation, and repetition. We observe role models in others. We imitate their behavior. We repeat this behavior until it is internalized, like brushing our teeth or driving our cars. Observation, imitation, repetition, internalization. Why do we do what we do when we know what we know? Because we do what we've learned, even though we know better. Some people smoke although they know it's very detrimental to health. Much of what we've learned is by imitation. Do you recognize this autobiography? You may know me. I'm your constant companion. I'm your greatest helper. I'm your heaviest burden. I'll push you onward or drag you down to failure. I'm at your command. Half of the tasks that you do might well be turned over to me. I'm able to do them quickly, and I'm able to do them the same every time, if that's what you want. I'm easily managed. All you've got to do is be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want it done, and after a few lessons, I'll do it automatically. I'm the servant of all great men and women, and of course the servant of all the failures as well. I've made all the great winners who've ever been great, and I've made all the losers too. But I work with all the precision of a marvelous computer, with the intelligence of a human being. You may run me for profit, or you may run me to ruin. Makes no difference to me. Take me. Be easy with me and I'll destroy you. Be firm with me and I'll put the world at your feet. Who am I? Why, I'm habit. The force of habit is your greatest tool for success. We all first make our habits, then our habits make us. And it happens so subtly over time, imperceptibly, quietly, beneath the notice of anyone. Habits are like submarines. They run silent and deep. The chains of our habits are usually too small to be recognized until they're too strong to be broken. First, we observe the behaviors of relatives, friends, or role models. Then we imitate that behavior. Then we repeat and internalize the behavior, and the idea, notion, act, or belief grows, layer upon layer, from a flimsy cobweb into an unbreakable cable to strengthen or shackle our lives. It's amazing how parents continue to pass their own hang-ups on to their children. It reminds me of a story about the young bride who cooked a ham for her new husband. Before putting it in the pan, she cut off both ends. When her husband asked her why she did that, she replied that her mother had always done it that way. At a later date, when they were having baked ham dinner at her mother's home, he asked her casually why she cut off both ends of the ham. The mother shrugged and said she really didn't know, except that her mother had always done it that way. And finally he asked the grandmother why she always cut the ends off the ham before she baked it. She looked at him suspiciously, replying, "Because my baking dish is too small." Habits, like comfortable beds, are easy to fall into, but hard to get out of. If we don't master our habits will master us. When we allow unhealthy habits to be our guide and counsel, we give up control of our actions and we find ourselves at the mercy of that blind giant who calls the shots without any concern for our well-being. However, when we begin to deal with the attitudes and actions that bind us, we give ourselves permission to take control and to build new habit patterns that help us perform to our ultimate potential. There are 4 basic ideas that we call the 4 cornerstones of change. Understanding these 4 concepts will help you understand the right way to develop healthy habits. Cornerstone 1, no one else can change you. You must first admit the need for change, give up any denial of your role in the problem, and take full responsibility for changing yourself. You must also understand that you can't change anyone else either. You can influence and inspire others as a mentor, but they as individuals are ultimately responsible for gaining new inputs, practicing them, and then surrounding themselves with a team of positive supporters. Cornerstone 2, habits are not easily broken. They are replaced by layering new behavior patterns on top of the old ones over time. Since many habits have been internalized for years, it's foolish to assume that 3 or 4 weeks of training will override the old destructive patterns. To change any habits, including substance abuse, self-ridicule, eating disorders, and any other destructive lifestyles, forget about the 30-day wonder cures, the 60-day diet delights, and the get fit, get rich quick fads. Give yourself about a year to internalize permanent change. Be patient. It took a number of years and observation, imitation, and repetition for you to pick up and store your current habits. Cornerstone 3. A daily routine adhered to over time will become second nature, like brushing your teeth or driving your car. Continue to practice your mistakes on the golf driving range, and you'll remain a high handicap duffer. Learn from a professional, and then practice the correct swing with each club, as demonstrated by the pro, and you'll become the pride of your foursome. My favorite true story is about United States Air Force Colonel George Hall. He was a pilot who was shot down and parachuted into enemy territory. 5.5 years in solitary confinement as a prisoner of war in a prisoner of war camp. In his cell alone, in black pajamas and bare feet, pacing in his cell for 5.5 years. No light, no talking to other prisoners, and 1 plate of rice each day. To keep his sanity and pass the time, he decided to play golf in his imagination. You see, he'd been a 4-handicap golfer, averaging about 76 strokes per 18 holes before he was captured. He played 1 round of golf every day for 5.5 years. He put an invisible ball on the tee and drove the ball down the fairway. He used his other clubs and irons to reach the green. He measured the putts, going through the motion of pulling the flag, and watched his ball go down in the cup. For 5.5 years, he replayed every game he'd ever played well, but he also pre-played every game he'd only seen the pros play on television. Pre-play and replay. After 5.5 years, he became atrophied, his eyesight weakened, and he was withered and underweight. And he came back and went to the New Orleans PGA Open and shot a 76, 4 over par, matching his former handicap. But he hadn't played golf on a real golf course in nearly 6 years. And the media said, "Wow, congratulations, Colonel. Beginner's reentry luck?" He said, "Luck, are you kidding? I never 3-putted a green in 5.5 years. And they said, "Sir, did you have a golf course at the POW camp?" And he said, "Yeah, in a way. We all have one. In your imagination, you never miss." In the POW camp, he was doing within while he was doing without. So you have this ability to set up in advance what you want. And when you don't make it, you correct it. When you do make it, you confirm it. Practice makes permanent. Practicing negative behaviors leads to a losing lifestyle. Practicing positive behaviors leads to a winning lifestyle. It's so obvious it's often completely overlooked, especially by the entertainment and news media, who help form our basic opinions on how the world works. And cornerstone number 4, once you change a habit, stay away from the old destructive environment. The reason most criminals return to prison is that they make the mistake of returning to their old neighborhoods and their old friends when they're paroled the first time. No matter how much they regretted their actions while in prison and want to go straight, they're easily dragged back into their old ways by exposure to the negative environment. So when dieters reach their desired weight, they usually go back to their former eating routines because their new behavior patterns haven't been embedded long enough to make them strong enough to pass by the dessert section of the buffet. Overweight individuals and dieters should stay away from buffet lines. When our mind talks, our body listens and acts accordingly. We need to understand that there is a victor's behavioral cycle. Our self-image determines our practice. How we practice determines our performance. And that instantaneously, immediately after every performance, we engage in self-talk in words, pictures, and emotions to confirm or adjust our self-image about that particular action. It's a cycle. It's a cycle up or a cycle down. And the self-talk we use after every performance determines whether the new self-image will reinforce the win or reinforce the loss. Think of where you want to be, and you'll move toward that thought. Self-imaging is what Olympic athletes, actors, and astronauts do, and the same techniques of mental self-discipline apply to the employee and entrepreneur as well, just as the actor and athlete. For example, before a marketing presentation, one successful businessman we know practices in his mind what he'll say and how he'll say it. He imagines what some of the obstacles will be. He focuses on the possible objections and questions that his clients may have, and he rehearses how he'll overcome them. He sees himself being relaxed, confident, in good humor. He sees the client satisfied in advance. Now, he may have preferred to go bowling the night before his presentation, but he practices self-discipline by staying home to spend a quiet evening rehearsing the day to come. The greatest coaches of the greatest teams, the greatest parents of the greatest kids, and the greatest leaders of the greatest companies and countries use the same basic techniques: explanation, demonstration, correction, repetition, and affirmation. Remember, the idea is to replace habits, not to try to erase them. You can't always practice in person on the field or in the office or with a client or before the boss, but you can rehearse in your mind. And when your mind talks, your body does listen. Here are some definite action steps that you can take to reinforce the victor circle in your professional and your personal life. Set aside about 20 or 30 minutes a day, whether you're commuting to or from your place of business or at lunch or in the morning or evening. And as you relax during this time, imagine yourself achieving and enjoying your most dreamed of personal desires. And do this as though you were previewing 3 television shorts. Picture one sequence achieving a professional triumph. Imagine the award ceremony, the promotion announcement, or the bonus payment. Picture another scene involving family happiness. Imagine a special reunion or an outing together. When you visualize yourself in the present, as if you were already accomplishing one of your goals, make certain that your visual image is as you would see it out of your own eyes and not watching you do it through the eyes of a spectator. And if you fail the first time, try again. If you fail a second time, get more feedback as to why you failed. And if you fail the third time, your sights might be too high or too low, so bring your goals in just a little bit from the horizon. Don't scold or berate yourself with left brain criticism when you make a mistake. Develop an affirmative statement about 5 words in length describing your current performance in the present tense, and then relax and listen to yourself state the affirmation and visualize the accompanying action and feeling. And finally, use positive self-talk from morning to bedtime. It's another good day for me. Things usually work out my way. I expect a great year. Next time I'll do better. We're going to make it. I'm a winner. All pursuits begin with the idea of what is to be accomplished or attained. An image of achievement is a tool that permits us to provide accurately encoded information to the brain so that the mind can work with that information and can begin sharpening perceptions and marshaling resources toward the imagined goal. What we need most in life is continuing support and reinforcement of other winners with similar goals. Every week, meet before work, after work, or during lunch with one or more role models. Form a network with other success-conscious associates in your own local community. In everything you do, think, speak, act, behave, and get the habit of success by association. Your mind and body can't distinguish rehearsed information from the main event. It stores as reality whatever you practice. You become that to which you're most exposed. So constantly expose yourself to successful individuals whose personal habits match their professional accomplishments. It's one of the most important concepts that I've learned in all of my life.